I am married to my wonderful wife Melody, and she is currently pregnant with our first child together. I have a 6-year-old daughter Tina, whose mother I split 50/50 custody with. So I know for the most part what Melody needs in order to feel supported while she carries our child. I have been spending lots of time making sure she's comfortable and taking on more of the load at home so she's not doing too much. This is her first child after all, and it's obviously a lot for her physically and emotionally. My mother and Melody don't get along too well. Mom didn't like my ex either. We broke up because we were headed on different paths, not because of my mother, and there's no bad blood. So I think she just doesn't like her because she's dating me for whatever reason. It's weird. She's very nitpicky about Melody, how much she does around the house, how emotional she is. Melody already cries very easily, and being pregnant has made her even more sensitive, which is fine. The fact that she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, it just seems like nothing Melody does is okay. I do, however, stand up for her and do not just allow my mom to talk down to her. Today, before picking up my daughter from summer camp, Melody went to 3 different grocery stores to find rotisserie chicken. She's been talking about it since last night and really wanted one. She sent me picture messages documenting her quest for the chicken and finally found it. My girl was happy. Rotisserie chicken is also kind of a comfort food for her, like spaghetti, because her mom used to make one of those when she was having a lazy day and didn't feel like cooking. She was planning on serving that with some other basic sides for dinner, perfectly fine by me. My mother came by to see Tina and started telling Melody the chicken is bad for her and she should not be eating that pregnant. Melody said it's fine, she usually eats healthy and just wants this one thing she's craving. My mom went on about how unhealthy it was and said she needs to eat something else. Melody said no and went to the backyard to FaceTime her family out of state. When she came back, my mom had thrown out the food and ordered takeout, a salad for Melody and pizza for everyone else. Melody asked where the chicken was and my mother told her she needs to start being a responsible mother and eat correctly for the baby. Melody screamed, "What the is wrong with you? Why are you always such a..." to me? She then started crying and called me home. I came back and asked my mother to leave after hearing her story and said she is not to come back until she apologizes for how she treated Melody. My mom went on about how I'm choosing another woman over her, but I just think enough is enough and Melody reached her limit. She apologized to me for blowing up when Tina was in the house, but I told her it's okay, things happen, Tina is okay. And I went to find her another chicken before the store closed. My dad thinks I'm right for taking Melody's side, but my brother thinks I should always defend mom. I do plan on having a sit down with both my parents and my brother with my mom. I'll talk to my dad first, then have a family meeting. I would still want my mom around, and honestly maybe I'm just weak, but that's my mother. However, if she cannot learn to change and respect my family, then we will just have to go and see. It's hard, but it is what it is. Melody doesn't even want to completely cut her out, she just wants change as well. But I will protect Melody at all costs, and if that means cutting off my mom, then so be it. My ex and I did not break up because of my mother. We had different ideas of where our lives were going. Tina was not planned and we were already heading towards going our separate ways before she got pregnant. We tried to make it work for Tina, but that's not what relationships are about, so we split and it's working great. My ex and Melody get along great, Tina is happy and we work through things as one big blended family. My ex and Melody have talked about my mother with each other before, and that was when I realized I needed to see a therapist to work through my childhood with a mom like mine. It's a process. I'm working through it the best I can. Melody's pregnancy is going smoothly for the most part. Just exhausting and emotional, as she put it. Also, we're having a girl. We had our gender reveal. I did find her another chicken yesterday night after this whole fiasco. My fiancé and I moved in together shortly before we got engaged. Before we did, we discussed how we'd split the housework and bills. 50/50 down the middle with some wiggle room for when the other needs help. When we moved, it was into her parents' 2-story garage that they converted into basically an apartment. They offered a low rent, $700 total, and pitch in for the electric and internet so we could save money for our own place and wedding. My fiancé earns more than me and that's cool, I'm proud of her. Before we moved in together it always seemed like she was living paycheck to paycheck, and I chalked it up to the apartment she had prior having insane high rent. She stuck to the 50/50 arrangement at first concerning bills, but she missed often and I had to remind her about it. Post-engagement, she's back to living paycheck to paycheck, either missing or very late with her part of the rent monthly. The 2 utilities we pay, groceries, late with her car payment. Her parents have talked to me multiple times about rent and I've covered her missing portion to get us caught up. And then try talking to her. It always turns into her saying we should just move if her parents are going to hound us. I told her we're lucky it's her parents because anywhere else would have kicked our asses out. On top of that, I pay my own bills, do about 65% housework, arrange and pay for most of our dates and vacations. Gifts for her, pay most towards our pets. I've suggested a financial coach, but what kicks me is whenever we're around others. She boasts about being the breadwinner since she earns more. Goes on about the stresses of being the main source of income, all the hours she has to work to pay all our bills. I was letting it slide until few days ago we were at a get-together. She and her sister started up again about her being the breadwinner. Her sister said something to the effect of her ex-boyfriend had a hard time being with someone who earned more, and my fiancé went, "Good thing OP doesn't mind me bringing home the pay." I told her just because she earns more doesn't make her the breadwinner when she blows it all on herself and I'm paying most the bills. She's embarrassed now and keeps saying I made her look bad and got her in trouble with her parents, because they want to see what she spends her money on each month, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Last night I was ready to just postpone the engagement, as of this morning after a lot of talking and things coming to light. We are broken up. She insisted we could afford her purchases based off our total incomes. Her parents were under the impression she was also paying off my student loans, my car, my phone, and paying for our vacations. She didn't get evicted from her last apartment, but she was late with her rent often enough that they weren't going to renew her lease. So she didn't suggest us moving to a bigger apartment at her building. Biggest nope, I'm out. The monthly take-home amount she told me was what she earned before wage garnishment kicked in addition to mass debt. She's been doing some online stuff to make up for the money she loses due to that. I got the ring back. I manage a team of employees in a very specialized industry. The employees are hired on 2-year contracts that are mostly automatically renewed. Salaries are fixed for the duration of the contract, but raises are negotiated at time of renewal. There are no non-competes. I have one employee, Sarah, who requested a meeting with me last week to discuss a possible raise. I informed her that it is a little early as her contract won't expire until Jan, and I would be happy to discuss it in November. She told me she would like to discuss it now as her current salary does not reflect the amount of work she is doing. So I set up a meeting with her on Friday and told her I will hear her out. To her credit, she gave well-thought-out presentation listing the average salary in her field, the extra responsibilities she had to take on, and the extra revenue she was able to generate, etc. In the end, she asked for a 19% raise to stay on. This was a substantial jump, but I thought she made some good points and, with inflation being what it is, I can sell it to the managing partner that we are locking down a good employee for 2 more years. After the presentation, I told her I will just approve the raise and talk to the managing partner about starting her new contract early. Since the only things we are changing are the salary numbers, we can have the new contract ready for her to sign by Tuesday. She seemed very surprised that I did not try to negotiate and looked a little shell-shocked that the meeting was over so quickly. So anyways, I spent the entire weekend selling the raise to the partners and harassing legal to get the documents ready. However, when I gave her the documents to sign this morning, she asked for another meeting to discuss salary. She informed me that after doing more research over the weekend, her pay is still not reflective of all the work she is doing. At this point I got pretty annoyed and told her that we can discuss in 2 years. I thought that was the end of it, but after lunch she came to my office with 3 offers letters she received from our competitors. One in our city with a salary that is 2 to 3% higher, and 2 from other states that are 8 to 9% higher. She asks for the new salary to at least match the competitor in our city to stay. At this point I got very frustrated and told her that she is now free to work for our competitor, because her contract with us will not be renewed. She called me in. and left crying, immediately telling all her coworkers that I fired her for asking for a raise, which obviously caused quite an uproar. My wife thinks that I am the because I could have just said no. She probably had the other offers for a while and was never going to actually leave. She recommended that I offer her back the new contract. Anyways, I am contemplating going back to the office tomorrow and offering Sarah her new contract again. But I just felt like the relationship between us is ruined after this whole situation. Her currently contract is negotiated 2 years ago, which is why there is a discrepancy in pay with the current offers. There are also a lot of reasons for differences in salary even within the same city. Perhaps less PTO, maybe more responsibilities, maybe they lock them in the contract for 3 years instead of 2. Which is happening more and more now. Maybe they have a non-compete, or maybe they are better. I can't say. Her contract expires Jan, so she has plenty of time left at the company if she wants to finish out. Sarah is WFH today, so I sent her an email apologizing for overreacting yesterday, and informing her that she is an important member of our team and that I worked really hard to get her the raise she initially requested. The new offer still stands provided she return the signed contract to me today before 5 p.m. I would be happy to execute it immediately and get her sorted out before the next payment period. She emailed back also apologizing for her reaction yesterday and said that she enjoyed working here and feels like she really has an opportunity to grow. But she then ended the email asking if I would still be willing to reconsider upping the offer to match her other offer. At this point, I just can't even anymore. I basically ignored her email, and at 5:01 p.m. with no signed contract from her, I sent an email to the managing partner I was talking to all weekend. Hope this email finds you well. I am writing to inform you that Sarah has elected to decline the new contract as it is written. She has informed me that she received an offer from our competitor with a salary of XXX. I have attached a scanned document of the offer letter with this email for your convenience. She has requested that we match that salary to retain her services as our current offer is insufficient. As of right now, her contract expires January 22nd. Please advise on the next steps. My girlfriend and I have been dating the past 5 years, since college. After graduation, we were semi-long distance, living close enough that we alternately visited almost every weekend. In 2018, and got a job in my city, and we found a place and moved in together. Now's a good time to mention the security cameras in our house. Break-ins are unfortunately common where we live. We thus got some motion-activated cameras, one of which has a view of our kitchen, to monitor the back door. The cameras only record when there's motion so they can retain footage for a very long time. And of course knows this about a year ago, and started complaining I wasn't contributing equally to chores. I've been obsessive about chores my whole life. Growing up, not doing the dishes meant no video games for a week. When I lived with roommates, I was always the chore Nazi, making damn sure we all stuck to our chore wheel. And is just as fastidious about chores, so we just naturally alternated who did what. I'd just been brushing her remarks off, but over the last few months they've become much more aggressive. E.g. I was vacuuming and said, "Look at you finally cleaning up around here." I replied that we alternated vacuuming, to which she retorted, "No, you've vacuumed maybe twice since I moved in." Exchanges like this have been happening so frequently that I began to doubt my own recollection. Am I not as clean as I thought? Finally, she exploded at me last week. She said that having to stay home constantly over the past weeks exposed how little I do around the house, and that she didn't move in just to be my maid. Questioning my own sanity, I spent a few hours going through the entire 1.5-year archive of security camera footage, and tallied the exact number of times the kitchen cam caught each of us doing dishes. Our cleaning supplies, vacuum, mop, etc., are in the kitchen pantry, so I also tallied up how many times we grabbed cleaning stuff. To my vindication, the tally showed that we indeed split chores equally. She vacuumed / mopped 5 more times than I did. I did dishes 20 more times than she did. Given that we vacuum / mop at least once a week and do dishes at least every day, these are insignificant differences over the year and a half we've lived together. When I confronted Anne, she shrugged off her behavior as remembering things differently, but the real sin here was what I did. which she called an unforgivable violation of her privacy, akin to abusive stalking. She has broken up with me and is trying to move out, although obviously this is difficult due to current circumstances. I'm totally heartbroken, and was the love of my life, and I can't believe she destroyed our relationship like this. To make matters worse, she told many of our friends, who are mostly siding with her. They've been texting me that what I did was creepy, abusive, controlling, invasive, etc. I'm at a loss. I'm beginning to think I'm the one who's off base here.